we run in ring 0 unlike any other anti-cheat. Ring 0 is pretty much kernel mode, and anything running in user mode pretty much will not be able to detect for it. Ring 0, ring 0, ring 0, ring 0, ring 0.
On June 24th, 2018, approximately 2 weeks after Cheatbreaker was released, prominent YouTuber and pop PvPer Dreamer420 uploaded a video to his channel titled Polybot. In this video, he appears to be showcasing a client which is used on Cheatbreaker, or you're able to use on Cheatbreaker. In the description, it reads, "If you're interested in purchasing the closed beta for Polybot for CB plus BLC, contact at CampaignYT on Twitter." 2 days later, I covered the supposed at the time, but actual Cheatbreaker ban list, which was leaked to the public, which appeared to show that Dreamer420 was on the ban list and was banned from the network. This belief was reaffirmed by checking Dreamer420's profile on the MindHQ website a few days later. It claimed that he was banned on the 18th of June 2018. If you check Dreamer420's profile and check when these comments were posted, you can see that on June 26th, the first comment which says banned appeared, which is approximately 8 days after the Cheatbreaker website claimed he was banned originally, and also appears to be before he uploads the video about Polybot on the Cheatbreaker website, but after he uploads the video on Polybot on his profile, and also appears to be banned at a different time than the other people that were banned on the same ban list were banned at. As you can see, I chose 2 random people on the ban list, and they were banned, as the Cheatbreaker website correctly claims, on the 25th of June 2018, which is a full 7 days after Dreamer420's ban appears to have occurred at. 1 day later, Dreamer420 uploads a video against Z-Blacking on Cheatbreaker titled Dreamer420 vs. Z-Blacking. I'm back on CB, 6-potted. The description reads, "Got manual banned, in back now, at CampaignTT on Twitter to buy Polybot, 78 users undetectable on Cheatbreaker." Prominent cheater and cheat showcaser FaceClan uploaded a video to his YouTube channel titled Cheating on Cheatbreaker with Polybot on July 11th, 2018. Also, it is important to note that the original tweet by the Polybot Twitter account occurred on June 11th and says, Two plus years ago, a promise was made. Polybot will release once Cheatbreaker is released. We have not forgotten that promise. We are almost finished with our internal testing stages and will begin selling early copies to closed beta testers very soon. Stay tuned for updates." And on July 10th, on the Polybot Twitter account, it was tweeted that even after a 8,000 plus player ban wave, not a single Polybot closed beta user was banned from CB. Thank you to our customers, testers, and developer for helping us achieve what we have today. We will continue to improve the client as more waves come in and time passes. They later corrected this number to 4,000. However, the point is still taken. Australian developer Aeroax replies to the tweet and says, "What about Dreamer and Zooxy, who apparently is another person who was banned on Cheatbreaker for using Polybot? His ban date on the Cheatbreaker website aligns with Dreamer420's and not the other people who were banned simultaneously in the same ban wave." Dreamer420 then replies and says, "Yeah, they caught me, bro. Definitely not manual ban." On July 20th, a random user on the vape forums makes a post called "Is Polybot Placebo?" in the off-topic section. It is as follows. Pretty much the title. "I'm probably going to do some testing with a friend later to see for ourselves, as the client apparently has a velocity module. I'll update this thread once I'll test it, but until then, feel free to share your opinion or proof regarding Polybot being placebo. Update. We tested the velocity and noticed no difference. For anyone wondering, the values Polybot uses for velocity are 88% to 100%. I even injected vape light and set velocity to 90%, where we saw a difference. Since the Polybot velocity is apparently randomized, we had to test for a longer period of time. I'd say we tested around 60 hits total, between normal MC, vape light, and Polybot. As stated earlier, we came to the conclusion that there is no difference between Polybot and normal MC's velocity. We immediately saw a difference when using vape light. I don't suggest purchasing Polybot until someone has substantial evidence that it's real." July 23rd, IBeThieving, aka Koala King Manthe on Twitter, a developer at vape.gg, uploaded a video called Polybot Exposed, Fake Client, at Archibot at Purple's Ring 0 ? Purple's liked the tweet, and so did I. I asked IBeThieving if I could include his video in mine, and he gave me permission to. So here's his video showcasing how Polybot, in his eyes, is a fake client. Now, the only real question is right now, was Dreamer's ban faked, and is Polybot a fake client? Now, the most reasonable option I can think of right now is that Polybot is a fake client, a placebo that Dreamer is selling to make money. Now, this is not 100% the case. However, I am fairly certain that it is, based on the evidence that I recently went over. So, as I was editing, and actually I already finished rendering the video, so I'm going to stick this in at the end of the video. IBeThieving, aka Koala King Manthe, put together this little bit of info to help me with my video. Now, this is more like kind of advanced stuff about Polybot. So if you're not really a coder, you're probably not going to understand many of these terms and stuff. I don't understand all of them. However, I'm just going to read it anyway, because this will basically guarantee about close to 100% that Polybot is in fact a placebo. And so here we go. So this is everything Polybot does, IBeThieving and Archibot. It checks the database for authentication. Then it checks task list to see if a bad lion client or cheap record process exists. If it doesn't exist, it prints out a message to the console saying the process cannot be found. If it does exist, it prints out text to the console designed to look authentic to trick people. At one stage, prints downloading driver to the console, when in fact it doesn't download anything. It simply writes bytes, empty spaces, to a .sys file. Disconnect your internet, and it will still download. Prints out text to console depending on what command you enter. Also, I tried finding out who the dev of the client was via the PDB handler he left in the program, but he was smart enough to use a fake Windows username, so that lead came up empty. Extra info. The download bar is randomized on every boot. The strings are XOR encrypted. It does nothing. Doesn't even touch anything other than process window list. Also, is most likely C++ due to it being hard to reverse, given it converts the code to assembler, which is very hard to reverse. Unlike .NET languages, which use IL, making it very easy to reverse. There is also quite a bit of evidence that Dreamer420 may have been manually banned on Cheapraiker, as the ban dates do not directly line up. If this is the case, it would mean that JHalt, or whoever's in charge of Cheapraiker, was manually banning people for fake clients. However, I don't actually think that this is the case. I think that Dreamer420 is using a fake client, Polybot, and selling the fake client, Polybot, and instead of using this fake client on Cheapraiker and getting banned for it, obviously that makes no sense, because otherwise you would have to use a real client to get banned on Cheapraiker. He is selling this fake client, but also auto-clicking or cheating in some other way on Cheapraiker, and then he got banned that way. So those are the main options, in my opinion. However, there's also still a chance that he was not manually banned, which is the second option, actually, or that he was manually banned, which is the first one. But there's also a chance that Polybot is actually a real thing, and he was correctly banned for Polybot. But the problem with that is the dates on his ban do not line up with the rest of the ban wave and when people found out about his ban, which is quite suspicious. It's also possible that Polybot is a real client and is bypassing Cheapraiker, and he was manually banned correctly. However, I believe this is unlikely because of the evidence we've already gone over, which appears to show Polybot being a fake client. It's also important to keep in mind this post made by JHalt about a month ago, titled Our Stance on Cheating on the MineHQ website. As part of our ongoing effort to combat cheating in the Minecraft community, MineHQ will be enacting rules that some may view as overreaching, but we view as necessary for the greater good. Anybody who promotes, associates with, or in any way assists a cheater cheat will be banned from MineHQ at my staff team's discretion. This includes any kind of promotion or encouragement of cheating activity on any platform. If we find that you are liking, retweeting, or otherwise endorsing cheating activity or behavior, you will be banned from MineHQ. Permanent Cheapraiker HWID bans may also be issued at my personal discretion. Now, this is important because does this apply to fake clients? Are you promoting cheating by making a fake client? I don't know. A quick search for the Polybot client shows that this client was conceived as early as March 25th, 2017, and I heard about it in a Skype group chat around that time as well. However, I was not sure if it was fake or not. Doing a little bit more digging made me come across this guy's video, Catzik, from May 1st, 2017. The description says, best actual client will bypass Cheapraiker, and there's a Mediafire link which is associated with it. This Mediafire link downloads a jar, and this is what is inside of it. Throwing Polybot into Leuten reveals that it is a renamed Saturation Display mod. However, also throwing the Saturation Display mod itself in here and comparing them shows that there's only one main difference between this fake Polybot mod and Saturation Display, and that is a fake GUI. As you can see right here, there's a fake GUI that's created, which has self-destruct, velocity, auto-clicker, aimbot, smooth, and reach there. However, there's not anything that exists which actually functions as these modules. So for example, if you turn on aimbot on the client, there was no actual aimbot. So Polybot, the original Polybot, was a fake client. So this seems to be more evidence that this is actually a scam in order to get money. Now, this is actually pretty interesting because it wasn't just the people who watched Dreamer's video that were tricked and the ones that bought it. There are other people that are so convinced that this thing worked that they made their own videos saying, Polybot, Cheapraiker bypass, and Polybot on Cheapraiker bypass da-da-da-da-da. So this is pretty telling that if you tell someone something works on this game, they're gonna believe it works. So after looking at that pretty substantial evidence, which appears to show that Polybot is a fake client, I'm going to end this off with this tweet, which is, if someone can make a fake client seem real by offering a 90% horizontal velocity modifier and also 3.1 to 3.3 misplace, which doesn't do anything, but people believe it, it's very clear why people seem to think Regedits work.